Happy New Year and thank you for joining us on our annual Year in Review. I'm John Luck.
And I'm Alicia Fortin. It's time to look back at the year that was.
And we're beginning with politics. The 2016 election saw its fair share of controversy and hot-button issues,
Much of which spilled over to 2017. Shortly after President Trump's inauguration, women's marches and protests rose up around the world and here in Bridgewater.
March to the north.
A historic show of solidarity to the new administration.
Say it clear, immigrants are welcome here.
Millions gathering across the country and around the globe for a multitude of reasons.
Immigrant rights, for Black Lives Matter.
Our sons who are disabled.
The Women's March was easily one of the biggest demonstrations in the nation's history.
It wasn't about protesting Trump. It wasn't protesting society. It was about sending a message, about assembling together to become one voice, to be heard loud and clear that this can no longer go on in the world, not just in America.
Sister marches rose up in small towns and major cities, including Boston, where residents Maribel Soto and Fran Jeffries stood with thousands on the Boston Common before marching down Charles and Clarendon streets.
I'm here for women's rights and justice for all.
For all the people whose voices can't speak loud enough to reach the government.
I'm heartbroken with what's going on in this country right now. Things have gone too far.
The recent displays of hatred and violence in Charlottesville are prompting Bridgewater residents to act. People of all ages, men, women, children, even their pets, spent some of their weekend peacefully demonstrating their concerns.
Small towns are taking a stand and saying there's no place for hate.
The Standout for Decency was organized by Bridgewater's Citizens for Civility and Respect. This was the second of two standouts held after the events in Charlottesville.
And we want to really show that we as a small town really identify with people in Charlottesville and we feel their pain.
The only thing that's going to bring us together is conversing with one another. There are a lot of things we share. We have a lot of commonalities, and we need to work out our differences.
Homemade signs displayed words of hope and messages of peace. The group of over 30 were met with mostly positive feedback by passing motorists.
A lot of waves, a lot of beeps. We only got 2 thumbs down, and I can't imagine why someone would thumb down love, beauty, and tolerance.
Now, the presidency wasn't the only contentious item on the ballot this year. Voters statewide legalized the sale of recreational marijuana, but question 4 failed by nearly 140 votes here in town.
Over the summer, state officials passed legislation allowing towns that voted no to ban the sale of recreational marijuana.
And that would be the start of multiple discussions between residents and the council over whether marijuana could or would be sold in retail pot shops. At their final meeting of 2017, the town council voted to ban the retail sale of marijuana with the amendment of cultivation still being allowed. That amendment passed by a vote of 8-0. This means that the 2 medical facilities can cultivate and sell their products to shops outside of town. However, Bridgewater residents can't purchase it in town recreationally. For people that use it for medical purposes, this will not affect their purchase capabilities. The original motion was for an outright ban, which failed. However, an amendment was approved for cultivation.
6 in favor, 2 against.
Thank you. The path to the decision on December 19th was a long and arduous one. Councilors began the process by appointing an ad hoc committee led by Town Councilor Ted Haley. Originally, the committee discussed a temporary ban on the sale of recreational marijuana through 2019. After hearing from the committee began looking into a more permanent ban.
So the mission of the committee, I'll read from this, is to identify the issues associated with retail sales of marijuana in the town of Bridgewater and suggest possible solutions, including recommendations on the promulgation of ordinances and regulations.
In September, Councilors Gallagher and Sousa proposed a zoning ordinance that would prohibit the retail sale of recreational marijuana. The council talked about potentially bringing the vote back to the people to decide.
I myself, because I'm looking at the election numbers, I myself, if we get to that point, would be in support of sending it to a townwide vote. It's a very close margin, and there were 180 voters that decided not to decide. So we can't count them in the numbers, but the difference overall for the entire town with 13,140 people voting, the difference was only 156 voters.
I believe that all the citizens of Bridgewater hope and expect that you will act in a manner that will do the least harm to our community. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Eidwalker.
In November, the Community and Economic Development Committee and Planning Board held a highly attended public meeting.
We all know that this stuff is out there, and those that want it will get it. That is going to happen. But do we need to promote this in our community? But at the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves, how will this better our community? What benefit do we get out of this? I don't think any benefit will ultimately come or outweigh the cost.
I just moved into Bridgewater in July because of its reputation, because it's a great place to raise a family, and because I was looking for a little bit of peace. My story is also a sad one. I lost my son to the hands of someone that was high and drinking. As a parent, we're also mentors and leaders ourselves, just the same way you guys are leading this town. We have to think, put yourself in my position, in his position, in Mr. Aiken's position. It's the toughest thing to live without your child.
This joint meeting was recessed until November 15th, where the committees recommended the council make amendments to allow the two facilities that currently grow medical marijuana to cultivate and continue the normal business. Residents were unhappy by amendments being made at the joint meeting and accused some of the councilors of making backdoor communications.
It is apparent, however, that the marijuana industry has been busy at work behind the scenes using soft tactics to promote their cause. And how are they doing it? Through backdoor communications with actually some of you folks and through our town manager.
Again and again and again, this keeps having to be repeated. We did have a vote. We voted. We voted already. Vote complete. 76.69% versus 11.76%. 3/4 of the town showed up that night. 50.58% of people that voted said they do not want recreational marijuana in their town. I have to wonder, why is he trying so hard to get another vote? The only reason I can guess that someone is trying so hard to have another vote when we already had one is, and it was very clear,
Ms. Bruciani, if you could start
is
to wrap
because
up.
they want to try to elicit different results.
After a one-year battle, the town will not sell marijuana recreationally, while cultivators in town will be allowed to sell to shops outside of Bridgewater.
It could happen to any of us. These are our brothers, our sisters, our parents. They look so happy in those photos. And we need to remember them that way, and we need to stop other families from having to get up here and read their stories.
We need to have more compassion. Those struggling with addiction are people just like you and I, and this should never be forgotten.
Was blind, but now I see.
Powerful words there from local families talking about substance abuse disorder. This video came from the National Day of Remembrance ceremony held at Trinity Covenant Church. Members from the 129 a Day campaign shared their heartbreak in hopes of spreading awareness.
As we close out 2017, there is some good news to report. According to mass.gov, opioid overdose deaths are down by 10% in Massachusetts.
Still, there are too many people dying from overdoses. This year, Bridgewater State University became the first in the nation to offer publicly accessible Narcan on campus. Christian Bracero had that report.
It's being led by law enforcement.
There's an old saying that the longest journey, and we have a long one in front of us, begins with the first steps. And this is a significant first step.
Narcan reverses the effects of an overdose. Hundreds have already been trained on campus, and the school's outreach continued with a public training on September 11th.
What we're really trying to do today is to make Narcan more publicly available. That doesn't work without training and education, so there is a training and education component embedded as well.
Narcan kits will be available in every building, either in the cabinets where the defibrillators are held, or cabinets designed for the life-saving drug.
When we think about what naloxone is it's an emergency intervention for a true medical emergency, similar to an EpiPen or to the need for an AED. So it makes perfect sense for the two of them to be linked together.
And they'll be available to anybody who needs to use them, the public, university community members, students, faculty, staff, and so on. So anybody who needs to use them, anybody who wants to use them and who has the training will be able to do that.
This is the latest in a long line of statewide initiatives to bring the opioid crisis under control.
Is it better to be prepared, or are you going to pretend the problem doesn't exist?
Now, since that report, BSU has trained 669 people in the use of Narcan. That includes faculty, staff, and community members.
And BSU is specifically mentioned and applauded for their efforts during Boston's first annual Police Assisted Addiction Recovery Initiative Conference.
Training and education are ongoing, and you can find out more information by contacting Campus Police.
High and Broad Streets used to be known as one of the most dangerous intersections in town, until a local volunteer made its safety his priority. Although living in town for a short time, a volunteer's impact will be felt for much longer.
There it is.
Local government officials and residents came together to celebrate the unveiling of McSheffrey Corner while honoring the memory of a dedicated town volunteer.
Today we are gathered to remember Brian, his efforts to make this traffic light a reality, and to honor him by naming the corner after him. Brian passed away before construction began, but we had seen the finished plans. He knew about the turn lanes, he knew about the offset pattern for High Street, and he knew that the days of the do-si-do were over. Every week I hear someone commenting on how great the traffic light turned out. The fear is gone, and the intersection is much safer thanks to Brian McSheffrey.
I admire people who are doers, people that see things that need to be done. They don't talk about it. They take the bull by the horns and they do it. And I'm going to tell you something. Your husband, your dad, is a doer. And because of his efforts, our community, not only everybody in our community here in Bridgewater, but everybody that comes and travels through Bridgewater is safer because of your dad.
Brian was a person who believed in making a difference in people's lives. He did it every day in his classroom. Brian was a beloved, dynamic, wacky teacher who connected with and inspired his students. He led them to Washington, D.C. every year for the National History Day competition. And after the devastating tsunami in 2004, he collected more than $3,000 to send for the relief.
We spend a lot of time at council meetings and other town-related meetings, laughing, learning, shaking our heads, rolling our eyes, and trying to make a difference. With the installation of this light, Brian has truly made a difference. His hard work and efforts will save lives for years and years, and this dedication will ensure that all who pass through this light safely will always remember the name Brian K. McSheffrey.
Quite the legacy Brian leaves behind here in town.
Oh, remarkable.
Moving on here, the Bridgewater Fire Department celebrated the retirement of a deputy chief in 2017.
Deputy Chief John Hennessy retired as a Bridgewater firefighter following 32 years of service for the town department. Hennessy was recognized by his chief and colleagues.
I had the immense pleasure of working alongside Jack for 19 plus years as his partner on an ambulance, engine company, ladder truck. We were assigned to the same group, same shift. Group 4 does more. In the past year, he was my right-hand man as Deputy Fire Chief. Jack will be hard to be replaced. But as we always said, everyone is replaceable. Drop the baton, next guy up. But rest assured, there will never be another one like Jack Hennessy.
Presented to Deputy Fire Chief John Jack J. Hennessy Jr., Bridgewater Fire Department Local 2611. May 26, 1985, when he was appointed, to June 2nd, 2017. Firefighter EMT, Lieutenant, Captain. 32 years of dedicated service. To a great friend, enjoy your family and your retirement. Best wishes from your brothers and sisters.
A celestial phenomenon occurred in our skies in 2017.
August 21st marked the first total solar eclipse in 38 years, the first to cross coast to coast in 100 years. Here at home, BTV captured a slice of the action at Bridgewater State University.
We had about 70% of the sun
disappear from our sky at the maximum peak of the eclipse. We've been hearing some great feedback from our community.
It was amazing.
I thought it was pretty cool.
It was amazing.
It's cool.
Bridgewater State University hosted a crowd of 1,500 for the partial solar eclipse.
It was awesome.
People from all over came out for the spectacular celestial event, spreading out on the lawn outside the school's Math and Science Center. Their excitement prevalent and not solely over what was happening in the sky.
To get the glasses. There were the glasses at our library, but we thought they were all sold out, so we went here instead.
We had glasses for everybody to share and to use to view the awesome experience of the solar eclipse.
Others showed up with homemade solar eclipse viewers, passing the time by teaching others to create their own. Inside the building, a line wrapped around the upstairs floors as people hoped to get a closer look from the observatory's viewing deck.
Right now, look at the solar eclipse with these sunglasses on. You can see clouds passing by it.
It was really pretty.
It was pretty cool because up there you could see it closer and much more bigger in the telescope.
It looked really cool. The color was really nice, and I can't wait to see when it fully covers the sun.
For many, this was their first chance at seeing a solar eclipse.
We really wanted to get them interested in taking a look in the sky and really being able to see something once in a lifetime, especially for the first time in their lifetime. Getting them to really be interested in higher education and in exploration and in discovery. I mean, any chance to hook a young mind into science is worth every second of it.
And it's, I love the science, and it's really, no matter how many times I've seen it or heard about it, this is the way to go for the kids. They did a real good job.
Now, if you missed the solar eclipse, the next solar eclipse will actually take place in a few years, coming up on April 8th, 2024. And this time, New England will be in the path of totality. You just have to go up almost to Canada. But nevertheless, Massachusetts is projected to see 93% of the sun covered by the moon.
And John and I actually covered that event and had a great time. So maybe
That was
2024
awesome.
we'll go back to Bridgewater State.
Now, let's just go to Vermont. Let's get the full totality going.
All right, why not? When we return, some of the major local health and tech stories of 2017.
And we'll take a look around the regional, but first we'll look back at some more of the events bringing the community together in 2017.
As the BIA's focus is shifting a bit, the group has handed over the responsibility of caring for and maintaining the fountain to the town of Bridgewater.
Thanks to the BIA, the fountain did not become, a remnant of the past.
For 6 weeks, 25 of Africa's brightest public administrators are immersing themselves in an academic and leadership institute at Bridgewater State University.
We are really inspired the way you conduct your business here, because back home it's the same business that I conduct in my district council.
I don't even know what to say. I'm actually at a loss for words, except that thank you very much.
Warren Buffett and his wife gave Jillian $25,000.
So here we are at the 128th Rose Bowl Parade, and I'm here with a lot of friends from all around the world, ready to watch. I'm sure they're all waiting to see the Lions float, celebrating our 100th anniversary of Lions Club International.
Neighbors helping neighbors and the community. That was the theme at the Matthew Stringles Community Room, where the Bridgewater Housing Authority hosted the 7th annual Resident Appreciation Luncheon.
Step into the old Bridgewater Historical Society building, and chances are you'll find Shelley Carolchick in her element.
It's awe-inducing to hold something that old in your hands and to know, how many generations came after those people and how much they shaped the towns we live in today.
Every Saturday, Peter Kelleher drives to where there are homeless populations, providing people with a warm, homemade meal.
I'll go from here to I don't care where. The town or city of time. If I fill out the back of my truck, I'm not going anywhere.
Just driving up the driveway, you just feel like, a comfy, cozy blanket. You feel like home.
Which is exactly what the founders of Sunshine Farm Sanctuary had hoped for.
You just never know where this wonderful journey will take you. But I can guarantee you, you will never be the same person once you meet the kids. Never.
Once again, artists are filling the heart of Bridgewater with their harmonies on Thursday nights.
Yeah, it's a good life. From now on.
The Friends of Music Alley kicked off their second season of free public concerts on June 8th.
There's always a need for more music venues, and it's pretty cool to be outside on a beautiful night like tonight and to play for all those. So thank you.
Today is a day of celebration and recognition to all of us who served in the military.
As you see your everyday people, you may not even realize who the veterans are. Inside, they're probably proud of their service, but a little bit embarrassed by the recognition that they get today, but I think they deserve every moment of it.
It is the 149th time that residents of this community have gathered to honor those who have passed in the wars that we have been involved in since the Revolutionary War.
I want to thank every one of you for joining us in remembering the brave men and women who fought to keep our great nation free, and especially the members of the military who made the ultimate sacrifice of giving their lives in the line of duty.
We had a great year. We have been able to increase revenue every year, and we are very pleased to be able to present $5,000 to the Bridgewater 4th of July Parade.
The parade and fireworks are raised for independently by a small group, and this will be a huge, huge donation going towards that. So thank you very much.
Thanks for joining BTV on our production of the 4th of July celebrations.
What's your favorite thing about the 4th of July?
That we celebrate the Day of Freedom.
Oh my God, she had the best answer.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
On December 17th, Santa Claus made his way through town as part of a new tradition, waving to the residents of town in a Bridgewater fire truck. The department gave updates throughout the day on Twitter so children and families could wave to the big man himself just 1 week before his big day. We continue on with the year in review coming up in 30 seconds.
Why do you think your mommy or daddy are always telling you, don't put that in your mouth? Let's find out.
Hi, kids.
Why are we on television anyway?
We're here to tell a little story about why you shouldn't put things into your mouth when you don't know what they are. But you can help me sing a song about eating things that don't belong inside you.
Okay, don't you put it in your mouth. Don't you stuff it in your face. Don't stuff it in your face. Remember, boys and girls, don't put it in your mouth.
Always ask someone you love before you put anything in your mouth.
Well, from the Mitchell School roof to the crowning of a new Mr. BR, there were plenty of newsworthy events around the regional in 2017.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
And I am very happy to report out that we have been accepted into the MSBA program as of today.
The district was one of 17 selected to participate in the program out of 86 applicants. Bridgewater residents approved an $800,000 debt exclusion that will be lent to the BR School District to fund a feasibility study aimed towards solutions for the Mitchell School. The vote was passed by a final tally of 1675 to 283.
I would just like to publicly say a huge thank you to all the wonderful parents, volunteers, school committee members, Bridgewater citizens, town officials, and Bridgewater Rainham Regional School District employees for all of their efforts in helping to get question 1 passed on Saturday. I've said it all week, and I truly believe this, and I'm sincere when I say it. This was a true team effort.
We started this program last year for the first time in many, many years as one of our student council goals, because we feel it's very, very important to recognize those students who achieve, and not only achieve academically, but demonstrate good citizenship skills.
EMS Principal Lynn Bastoni spearheaded the program, which recognizes students and their families for their achievements.
First of all, I want to thank the kids for everything they do to add to the culture and climate of BMS. I wanted to thank the parents too, because without the parents we don't have the great kids, so job well done.
The Rainwater Players are wrapping up another successful season. This spring they performed Legally Blonde to sold-out crowds.
Just exotic, I still can't crack the code. Yes, his accent is hypnotic, but his shoes are pointy-toed. Huh, gay or European, so many shades of gray.
I want to welcome you all to the 18th annual Mr. BR competition. Mr. BR goes to Joan.
Students participated in Read Across America from February 27th through March 3rd.
Never leave a thumbtack where you might sit on it.
The week-long program is celebrated nationwide with themes around children's author Dr. Seuss.
The road got more bumpy, more rocky, more tricky. By midnight, I tell you, my stomach felt icky.
Mitchell at the Middle hosted their annual Spring Family Literary Night to encourage and promote reading amongst their students and families.
I really like the literacy-based activities. Our teachers work incredibly hard throughout the course of the year to develop 3 or 4 activities to focus on.
TJ Squared is now well on its way to qualifying for the World Championships. Saturday's event, the first ever held at Bridgewater Rainham, drew a sellout crowd and dignitaries from across the Commonwealth.
You inspire me. What I just witnessed walking through the pit, what I've seen here so far, is nothing short of amazing.
Take a look at this photo of the Bridgewater Rainham Marching Band in our nation's capital. The musicians received an invitation to perform in the Parade of Heroes on Veterans Day weekend. They were only one of 4 bands to participate in this special tribute for veterans.
Mitchell School hosted a ceremony giving praise to some local men and women who served for our country.
June 20th marked a day of importance for almost 250 middle school students who officially became high school freshmen.
Although this chapter of your young lives is about to close, you will soon embark upon a new adventure, high school.
Set your eyes on the stars and become who you want to be, for the sky is the limit. God bless and Godspeed.
I'm told countless times that our generation is doomed. Whether we were condemned for using our cell phones in class, being tardy to school, or running in the hallways at the 1:59 bell. Overall, there are many other instances that demonstrate a generation will be just fine.
Do not ever allow the uninformed opinions of others who do not truly know who you are define you.
I am honored to present to you the graduating class of 2017.
Lots of fun and important moments from the BR School District this year.
So many moments, kind of difficult to get into one montage.
I know. But you did a great job of putting that together. Thank you, John.
Bridgewater welcomed several new businesses in 2017. Over the summer, Theory Wellness, the first of 2 medical marijuana facilities, opened its doors.
It's a very clean, safe, secure facility.
It's evident that a lot of thought and planning went into the medical marijuana operation at Theory Wellness. Behind the scenes of their Elm Street building, members of the production staff can be found wearing protective clothing and taking air showers while traveling between rooms. Others are found sterilizing already clean surfaces. These strict protocols ensure any potential contaminants stay out of the facility. Inside the flowering rooms, plants are receiving individualized attention from high-tech irrigation, lighting, and airflow. By cultivating cannabis in these highly controlled environments, each strain reaches its maximum genetic potential before it is dried and prepared for sale.
We have about 15 varieties of cannabis right now under cultivation. Each one is unique in its own way.
Since opening in July, the facility has been pretty busy. Employees estimate 60 to 80 patients per day.
We have a lot of patients who come in, they're new to the program. They may have a loved one that recommended they try medical cannabis to relieve some of their symptoms. They may have been having a lot of side effects from other pharmaceuticals, or simply just had pharmaceuticals that weren't quite working for them.
Theory Wellness offers multiple products designed to relieve different symptoms. Cannabis capsules and gummies for those needing long-lasting relief, concentrates to relieve higher amounts of pain, oils to be used in vaporizers, and the more conventional cannabis flower.
A lot of it too is just personal preference, what works for you. I mean, this is alternative medicine, and it requires a lot of almost self-experimentation. We provide patients with tracking sheets so they can track their experiences and see what works for them. And when they first come in, they can stay here for 2 hours learning about this, or they can be in and out in a couple minutes. It really depends on what they're looking for. People see things on TV that may not actually be true about the way we operate here in Bridgewater.
BTV also visited Chic Boutique Consignments this year. Ashley Lyons, a BR alum, opened her second shop on Pleasant Street after finding success in Tewksbury.
You know, a lot of my generation has never either heard of consignment stores or never thought to consign their own clothes.
With that in mind, Ashley Lyons opened Chic Boutique Consignments in Tingsboro in November of 2015.
Our idea is to offer the boutique setting, but with consignment prices. A lot of times people will come in here for the very first time and ask if it's consignment or if everything's brand new.
Thank you so much for coming. The store thrived, and Ashley opened her second location right here in Bridgewater this past March.
There's not a lot of places in the area like this, even just boutiques or stores in general. And people are just blown away that this is a consignment store.
To your health now, and we're looking at how residents are benefiting from the first and only trauma center in southeastern Massachusetts.
They have a regional resource that really is comparable to any resource in Boston in terms of trauma care.
Without the travel time.
This will greatly improve the EMS turnaround times. Typically, EMS would be transporting to a trauma center that was at least 45 minutes or an hour away.
We've been begging for this, so this is a much-needed resource.
Good Samaritan Medical Center is announcing it's been verified by the American College of Surgeons as a Level 3 trauma center.
The levels are based upon the resources available. They're not based on quality. So a Level 3 is not worse than a Level 1. And I think the expectation of all levels is to be of the highest quality.
The process began 18 months ago with the groundbreaking of the hospital's emergency room in 2010.
An investment that was just the beginning of what really has become a significant investment, not only in Good Samaritan by Stewart Healthcare, but also an investment in this community.
Moving on to today's tech, in February, the town learned about a new transportation company called TransitX.
You may be looking at transportation of the future.
If we get the first one that's successful, we have 20,000 cities and towns from around the world that would want to use this.
And these solar-powered pods could be soaring through Bridgewater's downtown one day.
So our stake and vested interest is making these first projects successful.
Michael Stanley, the CEO of TransitX, the company behind the technology, presented a preliminary proposal to residents.
I think there's great potential.
Carlton Hunt chairs the Master Plan Committee and has been working closely with TransitX.
Obviously, I'm excited by it. I think it has great revenue. I think it can serve us with the safety issue that's in town. It can serve us well. I think quality revenue can come into town. I think it solves or begins to solve some of the transportation problems in town.
Light posts are connected by the rail that carries your pod nonstop to your destination. Think of it like an elevator control system. You'll specify your destination prior to boarding your pod, which is designed to carry up to 5 individuals, cargo, and roll-on items.
I hope to make walkable communities, which is really something that has been shown to really enhance the quality of life of an area.
And town officials have decided they'll need to develop an air rights ordinance before moving forward with this or any other potential vendors. We'll continue to keep you updated in 2018.
It's almost like looking at the Jetsons almost. But when we return, we're looking back at the top sports moments of the year. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
When you have a hole in your neck, don't face the shower head. Keep your stomach covered when you're outside. Be very careful shaving. Get used to eating only soft foods. Clean out your speech valve twice a day.
You can quit. For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
You are what you eat, from your head down to your feet. Things like meat and eggs and fish you need to build up muscle tissue. Uh-oh. All these motors in your body need a lot of fuel to go on, like carbohydrates, fats and proteins, vitamins, and so on. Yes, you are what you swallow, so that next time you feel hollow, don't just fill your face with any old kind of treat. This goes for every kid or 6-foot athlete. All you really are is what you eat.
2017 was a year of celebration and losses. The year also featured the introduction of a popular game that may be easy for most, while for some it's a teaching tool that opened eyes at Bridgewater State back in April. On April 14th, Bridgewater State University basketball players, students, and staff were introduced to wheelchair basketball, courtesy of the New England Blazers.
We are a wheelchair basketball team. We are a member of the National Wheelchair Basketball Association. Well over 300 teams throughout the United States and Canada.
The event was held at the university as part of an effort to help raise awareness at Bridgewater State of students with disabilities. This also served as a teaching tool in showing some of the similarities and differences of a worldwide game that may come easy to some.
The reason that we're doing this is to bring awareness, to bring attention to what people with disabilities have to overcome every single day to achieve, especially our students here at Bridgewater State. We admire their strength and courage and persistence.
It's all about, accessibility and actually giving them some perspective what it would be like if they ended up, physically challenged, and it goes and shows them how demanding the sport is itself. Anybody that wants to try it, just go out and take your regular lawn chair, go set it up at a free throw line and try shooting it in the basket, and you'll get some perspective of how hard it is.
A familiar face assisted in getting this event played at Bridgewater State. Brian Bjorklund, who serves as head coach with the Blazers, wanted this game to serve a purpose to its fans.
Kind of show the community that just because we have obstacles doesn't mean that we're going to stop living life.
Brian just recently graduated from Bridgewater State. I brought him back to help us to put a focus on students with disabilities, and that really is his role. And he's done a great job, and we have work to do as a society and as a university.
The Blazers took on 5 Bridgewater State teams, including a team led by President Fred Clark, a team of students, and a pair of teams consisting of Bridgewater State athletes, including the men's and women's basketball teams.
It's a good experience because you're not really used to playing in a wheelchair, and when you see how difficult it actually is, opens your eyes to
It's definitely a lot of work with your hands, your arms especially. It just gives you a different perspective of different types of basketball and just a different outlook.
We'll be more mindful of the obstacles our students and people with disabilities have to overcome. I would love to see it come back next year and the year after, again, just to build a crowd, to bring attention, bring people together in fellowship for a great cause, and hopefully I'll practice between now and next year so I can maybe get a basket.
Brian Bjorklund and Joe Lamar changed teams, and they are now with the Brockton Celtics of the NWBA, and the team is currently 4-4.
2017 began with the local hockey community coming together to remember former BSU player Matthew Benting. The 20-year-old died from an unknown cardiac condition in 2016. More than 50 of his former teammates participated in the inaugural Benting Strong charity hockey game in January. Benting was one of 7 students who passed away over a 7-month span, including Benting's teammate James Crockett. Many of those students and parents attended to show their support. The money raised from the event went to the Kenneth Matthew Benting Scholarship Fund.
At the Regional of the Year featured some championships, starting off with the gymnastics team, and BR teamed up with West Bridgewater because BR didn't have enough members for their team. For the first time since 1999, the state champs qualified for the New England Championships held in Woodstock, Connecticut. The team finished 4th in the competition with some great scores. Sophomore Olivia Comito showed a lot of promise for the team's future, receiving a career-high 9.55 on the bars. Junior captain Julia Chase scored a career-high 9.35 on the floor.
I don't even have words to say how special it is. I've had these kids since they were 5 years old, and to come here today and win state championships is just a dream come true. We knew We knew we had to hit every routine on every event, or we weren't going to be able to make it. Because I knew going into today we were like a point and a half behind, and we had to take the sectional. So without hitting every single person, every single routine, there was no way we were going to win, and we won because everybody hit a good result.
The team was recognized at a March Town Council meeting, receiving a proclamation.
It is with great pride that the Town Council here in Bridgewater presents this proclamation to the 2017 Bridgewater Rainham West Bridgewater Girls Gymnastics State Champions. Whereas Bridgewater Rainham West Bridgewater Girls Gymnastics team is comprised of 12 gymnasts representing the Bridgewater, Rainham, and West Bridgewater school districts and is coached by the 2016 Coach of the Year, Stephen Cudworth. And whereas the team had an undefeated regular season with a 10-0 record, and whereas the team finished the regular season as Cranberry League champions. And whereas on March 4th, 2017, the Bridgewater Rainham West Bridgewater High School Gymnastics team won the MIAA State Championship. Now therefore, the Town Council wishes to congratulate the coaching staff and the Bridgewater Rainham West Bridgewater 2017 State Championship Gymnastic team on this outstanding achievement.
In January, the Bridgewater Rainham cheerleaders went to the National Cheerleaders Association Senior and Junior High School National Championships in Texas. The squad finished third in the 11-team division behind the champions from Dracut, while Jenks High School in Oklahoma finished second. For the fourth time in 5 years, the cheerleaders won a state championship, and Jeff Fowler caught up with the team during BR's pep rally.
So we are here with the Bridgewater Rainham Regional State Champion cheerleaders. Fourth time we've done this now?
Yeah.
You girls getting used to this?
Not really. It gets harder every year.
Right.
Harder every year.
So tell us a little bit about what goes into competition season, and what did you guys kind of go through at Worcester State last week?
A lot of emotions, sad, nervous, excited. A lot of the teams really got a lot better, so it was very difficult to know whether we were going to be able to do it or not, but it was very bittersweet.
What is the one thing you're going to take out of this year with the fourth title now?
A lot of lessons.
Yeah,
definitely a lot of lessons.
It's like, at the end of the season, it turns into more than just cheer. It's like a lot of life lessons that we'll all just have for the rest of our lives.
Well, fantastic job by all of you, and we'll see you on the field tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
All right, congratulations.
When we talk about local domination, that term can be used for the Bridgewater Badgers Division I youth football team. The team had won 5 straight Super Bowls and was on a 60-game winning streak. That's 6-0. For those efforts, the team was invited to the inaugural Pro Football Hall of Fame National Youth Football Championship Tournament, and who better to invite them than a Pro Football Hall of Famer?
Here, officially, on behalf of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I want to make the official invite to Coach Price and President Leary, and on behalf of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, good luck and welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt. We're here to celebrate football in America and one of the best teams that we have found to date. Come Monday, we announced the top teams across America for a National Youth Football Championship, sponsored by the Hall of Fame and supported by the Hall of Fame. And our quest to find the best teams in America is ongoing, with about 50 scouts from east to west, north to south. And when we release the teams on Monday, they'll know who they are, but we came up here for a special visit. It's been a great bunch of years in football up here in New England. This is a great program. You have a great coach and a great bunch of kids. So we're celebrating football at the best and letting these guys know that they'll be invited to play in the biggest football championship in the country.
The biggest thing I want them to get out of it is realize there's a balance and act in sports, and I'm sure Rich can attest to that. You know, we have our focus on our league at this time. This is a great honor for these kids, and I think it shows them that hard work, perseverance, and being disciplined, being good kids pays off, and I think that's why Mr. McGinnis has come down here and offered us an opportunity to play in this tournament. And like I said earlier, you know, we try to stress to these kids that it's about being a good sport. It's obviously everybody wants to win, but we're trying to instill other things in them. And I think by getting emails and texts from other coaches that we play, commenting us on our coaching ability as far as mixing kids in and making our kids be good sportsmen in the field, I get the most satisfaction out of that.
It was status quo domination for the team in the regional rounds, being a team from Westfield, Massachusetts and Rosedale, New York by a combined score of 47-0. Unfortunately, the team finished one game short of Canton, Ohio, losing to Clifton, New Jersey 30-0. Congrats to the team for doing a great job representing the local football scene on a national level. BTV will continue to be a home for local sports coverage coming up in 2018.
And we're always looking for volunteers to assist with recording the numerous games, meets, and matches happening around town.
Now we send it to our resident movie guy for a look back at the film industry in 2017.
Oh, hello. You know, when I was asked by people at gunpoint to do the Hollywood Lowdown, I agreed as long as we didn't do an annoying clip show, which was very cliched and corny. So here we are with our clip show. Before the Hollywood Lowdown, I was just another obnoxious, fat, loud guy who thought he knew everything about movies. 1 year later, 9 episodes later, a lot has changed. I've gotten fatter and lost even less hair on the top of my head. Anyway, let's take a look back at some of those first few episodes that began the whole magic, starting with our very first episode about the Oscars, which is soon approaching once again, and I'm sure will be just as disappointing. Yes, the Oscars, that enchanting time in Tinseltown where all the stars come out to shine, some more than others depending on the amount of plastic surgery. When I asked people what they disliked about the Oscars, the overall answers were, they run too long, they try to cram in too much, why are you hiding in my bushes? Opening monologues have become stand-up routines that are so deeply scrutinized by critics and naysayers that it leads the public to focus more on the host of ceremonies rather than the ceremony itself. Acceptance speeches that turn into biased, self-indulgent sermons, often involving politics or religions. Folks, it didn't work for Marlon Brando or Sinead O'Connor then, and it's not working for many of us now. One of the things I wanted to do with the Hollywood Lowdown was a segment called Underrated Anomalies, a show that talked about actors and actresses a bit underrated, never fully appreciated. It turned out to be a show about dead people. We're starting off with a more well-known actor, the lovable Texas-born actor Bill Paxton, who passed away in February. The film world has learned that Jonathan Demme has passed away. Adam West passed away at the age of 86 after a brief battle with leukemia. I can't help it if all the greats are dying.
Well, maybe we should hold this off till August, or just change the name of your segment. I'm starting to see a pattern here.
George A. Romero, often referred to as the godfather of zombies, passed away at the age of 77 after a brief battle with lung cancer. You know, believe it or not, I've been known to fly off the handle. I've been known to rant, to rave. Heck, I'd probably be doing it right now were I not so heavily medicated. Let's watch, shall we? Hold those degrees high. Be proud of all that studying and hard work you put in as you search desperately for a job that will barely keep you above water, knowing that idiots who can't put 2 sentences together are making millions of dollars off YouTube watchers simply for dropping their pants, singing like crap, or eating non-edible items. Get hot, run into the water. Get cold, run out of the water. Sit through leaving the beach for home traffic. God, I hate this time of year. I hate the beach so much. I hate it. Will Smith's character dies while testing out a new plane or something. That's how you write off that character? Really? The guy that instantly takes to flying an alien ship and masters alien technology with like 15 minutes in the movie? But really? That's how he dies? Jaws 4, the revengeance excuse for not having Roy Scheider was more believable. You know, people often credit me to be the driving force behind these segments, and rightfully so. I am quite awesome. But the truth is, there are a lot of talented people behind the scenes to help make this magical event. And from time to time, they've popped up on the show. Find anything? No, not yet. There's a bikini top on the floor. Lightning and thunder, can I just get anything at all? Anything? Boom. 2 o'clock in the... What?
All right, well, I have another actor.
All right, here we go.
Come on in.
Hi.
Come on
Oh,
in.
cool.
This
Hello.
is Scott.
Hi. All
He's
right. Huh.
I give up.
And that pretty much wraps things up for this year. Hopefully I'll be back next year with new segments, providing the courts allow me to do so. Until then, I'd like to leave you with some of my personal favorite funny moments, things I thought were hilarious that made everybody else cringe in disgust. But really, who knows better? Them or the man who drew a picture of a cat chastising a human for pooping in his litter box? Until then, I remain Mark Macrina until I can legally change my name to Rousedower.
Thank you, Mark. We've enjoyed having you back on the program this year.
And he always keeps us laughing and informed about many of the movies and especially comic book world.
And sometimes concerned with some of his things, but nevertheless.
Keeps us laughing.
That's all the time we have for, well, this year. We'd like to thank you for joining us on our look back at 2017.
It's been our pleasure to report the news and share your stories. An all-new edition of Bridgewater This Week will begin on January 12th.
In the meantime, be sure to check out BTV Now updates on our Facebook page. For now, I'm John Luck.
I'm Alicia Fortin. Thanks for watching.
Are they going to tell us?
They can be found in most households, but a pedestrian is saying they don't belong in your child's ear.
Why?
As soon as I finished it, I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, Scott, let's talk about pizza. What do you want for pizza?
What do I want for pizza? You know what? I am a pineapple and pizza kind of guy.
What the hell kind of person are you? Pineapple?
Pineapple's great on
No,
pizza.
it's not.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Do I have to say Wampanoag again?
Yes, you do.
Is it Wampanoag or Wampanoag? Wampanoag, right?
We're not telling you.
Wampanoag? Wampanoag. Okay.
Difference doesn't make.
This is gonna,
I'm gonna mess
I'm
this
gonna
up
mess it up.
37
All
more
right.
times.
368 years ago have passed since the Wampanoag tribe sold 196 square miles. Since the Wampanoag tribe sold 190. Since the Wampanoag tribe sold 100. Now 368 years have passed since the Wampanoag tribe sold 196 miles we know as Bridgewater. And back here on the common, again, back here.
Problem.
Yeah, people were cheering the fact that I'm John Luck.
Ray also had the best presentation. It was me. Oh.
From my close-up.
I actually did that right.
Scott, you didn't screw up.
Wow.
Congrats. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
At least someone knows how to talk to a Mike Scott. Ooh, I'm all blocky.
Yeah, my hands look funny.
I'm buffering.
Oh, wow.
That's it for the show.
I give up.
By the way, watch the Franken Zone.